Okay. I will call this meeting of the Public Site and Building Commission to order at 7:01. And for some reason, the flag's over there now, so we will pledge
Allegiance to the flag, United States
United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Just doing
They should. They really should.
so everyone on Zoom is muted. If you need to ask questions or speak or whatever, unmute yourself. Or if you need help with that, let me know. I think I can do it from here. So we're in meeting room B, and I have some control of the whole thing. Kathy's home because she's doing the minutes from there because she was sniffling and didn't want to sniffle on us. So
Thank you.
we all thank you, Kathy. So she has some control of it too. So public input, I don't know as we have any public. Everybody else is connected with our projects. Same with correspondence. There's nothing outside of everything that was sent out to everyone ahead of time. So we'll move on to approval of meeting minutes, and I'll make a motion that we approve regular meeting minutes from December 14, 2022.
I'll second.
John Menti seconds. Is there any questions or any updates needed, etc.? We're all good? Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And does anyone have to abstain? Yes, you weren't. So David Horvath abstained.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. So just a brief, this time of year, we usually elect officers for the commission. However, with the resignation of Dino stayed on for a couple extra years and then has now chosen to be resigned officially at the end of last year. And I don't believe the Board of Selectmen has done their appointments yet. So we don't have someone new. So we need a full commission. I would like to have a full commission before we elect officers. That's just an update with that. And we most likely will have a meeting in 2 weeks because we have some stuff which we'll talk about now that we're going to need to be approving, et cetera. So we will move into our old business, the schools, Rockwell and Johnson schools. Closeout is moving along. It's a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, paperwork, Office of School Construction, et cetera. One of the main things that we need right now is a final application for payment from Rizzo, which they have. And that will be checked and then signed. They usually do a little meet with Joe Collada somewhere halfway between where he is and they are. And that will come to our next meeting. So they'll have that ready for us for our next meeting. We actually have the last application for payment that we received for Johnson was 0 balance to finish. So that's good. This one will just be for Rockwell, 0 balance to finish, and we should be good to go with that part. The only other thing that we have, Vinnie did send out a budget review and the cost kind of spreadsheet that they add and subtract with, et cetera. If anybody has any questions on any of those, we can ask. Otherwise, the only other thing that we have outstanding is, which we will talk about, the stormwater management area, the levels. We do have there was a plan that was sent out today. It's actually the same, pretty much the same layout that we looked at our last meeting. However, they put some more information on the plans. And if we're good to go with that, they will then, they meaning SLR, Darren's on, and Joe Collada, and they will add in any other information that will be needed for it to go to inland wetlands for their review and eventually approval. So does anybody want to see the thing up on the screen? I mean, it got sent out. And like I said, what was sent out is just exactly the same layout. They just put more information in about the direction things were going in and other, only remove trees if necessary, which I think there was one tree we felt might need to get moved, but anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
So I do have a question, of course. So with the plan, which I don't have the capacity, I'm not set up to put it on the screen, but if I could just explain, with the addition of that, so the level spreader as it exists is not gonna function in the same way it's supposed to. There'll be the manhole put in, and then the piping that runs downhill to a new, do we call it a level spreader? Or what do we call it? What do we call it? That's the down, it's down near the,
Riprap level spreader.
is that what it says? Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, so my concern would be the way I understand level spreaders to work, and I Googled a bunch of them, and you see lots of, some are videos, some are just pictures, is that once the actual area where all the riprap is fills up and then flows over, it's supposed to flow over into the brook? Or does it flow over and go over some land and then go into the brook? So I don't know if that's Joe or Darren that would answer that.
Darren can answer that one.
Oh, come on, Joe.
I could guess that. I could say yes.
Hello, everyone. Darren Overton from SLR. Yes, that's exactly what will happen. The level spreader. So we have a DOT designed for a preformed scour hole to slow down the velocity of the water coming out of the pipe. That spills over into the riprap level spreader, which is basically just a trench lined with riprap. And the low side of it will be toward the brook. So the water will spill over the low side and down the bank, there's like a 2-foot high bank down to which forms the edge of the brook and down into the stream itself.
So is there any concern with it operating in that way and washing away more of the edge of the brook?
What we talked about in the past was, as part of the excavation, some of the native stones that they pull out of the excavation, we would actually put along the bank there, along the level spreader, to provide a little bit more armoring than what might be there now.
Okay.
So it'll still look like a natural condition. But yeah, that should protect it from erosion. And plus, the velocity coming out of that level spreader, it should be a very, thin, couple inches deep flow of water that's going to flow over very slowly and non-erosive.
Oh, okay, which will be good, because I've seen some photos and, like I said, videos of level spreaders acting in a way where there's like a whole bunch of grass that it flows over. And I don't know if we're going to get grass to grow there in that shady wooded area. So it sounds
yeah,
like
normally, if this was back away from the edge of the stream, we would normally have like a 15-foot filter strip at this, whatever the disturbed area was there, about 15 feet, that would be seeded with grass. So that as it poured out, it would start to spread over the grass and then into the natural terrain beyond that, and eventually into the receiving stream.
right, and that would keep, the grass would keep it from eroding further. But you've got another plan to keep erosion from happening, which that's what I was concerned about. Didn't want to have more erosion happening.
Right.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Is there any debris maintenance that has to be done on it? Is it a yearly thing,
Right.
5-year thing?
So that's a good question. I don't know if you heard that. Bob was asking us, since it's it's town property, but it's not maybe school property, or,
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think Park and Rec and the land trust kind of maintain the trail that goes through there. So would there be any periodic maintenance need to be done in the upper level spreader area, or the pipes, or the scour hole and all that part?
there should be none in relation to the stormwater flow that comes through there.
Okay.
The level spreader that we're gonna leave is only gonna see water if the outlet control structure fails and during a huge storm, it gets clogged up somehow and water has to go out that riprap spillway. So the likelihood of that level spreader that exists there now of getting flow after this pipe is connected is slim to none. And any debris should get trapped in the stormwater basin. So you should just have clean water flowing out through that pipe. So not likely to be any sediment to be removed. Shouldn't be anything that's going to get in there that's going to clog anything, because the outlet control structure has some screening on it as well. The only thing that would need to be monitored for, if there's trees or debris that falls down in a storm that may fall into the level spreader or the scour hole, that could cause some sort of blockage or, redirection of flow.
Yeah.
So it would probably be something that might want to be checked periodically, just like.
Yeah.
And the town has properties, I don't know who goes and checks them.
I don't know who checks the trail. That's
Yeah, I don't know if anybody checks the trip, maybe Park and Rec does periodically, Now that they have the disc golf thing down there, they may go through and check it now and again.
All right.
So,
Thank
The
you.
main reason the town engineer liked this layout of the design was that it was very low maintenance.
and that's good because it's one of those out of sight, out of mind spaces
Yeah.
where if you're not back there, then who's checking on anything, so, good. And as I said, the plans will also have some other information added once we approve that will then go to the inland wetland. You'll put in probably, I don't know, remember if the ones that you sent had, where you might have to put some silt barriers while you're doing construction and things like that.
Yeah, so what I talked to James about was he wanted us to add some ENS controls. There need to be some silt fence along the perimeter of the work area. We'll need to add some details on for the riprap and the plunge pool, and I agreed to put the size and comps that we ran on the plan, so it's a complete document. So whatever he feels he needs for the wetlands permit application, we're going to get on there in the next week or so we can submit that application on schedule. The date escapes me. Joe may know.
I think it's the 19th, January 19th.
That's what James reported last meeting, was the 19th, the submission date for the application. And then the wetlands meeting would be the following week.
Right, so
And that meeting is for them to accept the application, and then they actually vote the next meeting, I
right.
believe is how it works.
So the 19th, the application gets submitted. The 23rd is their meeting, which is the following Monday. And that's when they accept the application. I don't know if they do any discussion at that point. They may not discuss till the following meeting in February. They may ask questions, et cetera. James feels like he can cover it. So if he needs anybody else to be there, he'll let us know. So I don't think we need to approve this, but I think we'll just do it, just to have it be official. So I'll make a motion. If anybody has any other questions, you'll please ask, because that'll be the discussion time. So I'll make a motion that we approve the plan to remediate stormwater management area behind Johnson School as presented by SLR and Perkins Eastman. Roy seconds. Is there any other questions on it, input, et cetera? The other question that popped into my head right now is that I'm sure that during construction, as you're digging a trench, et cetera, you may have to put up some, I don't know, caution construction fencing if people do actually go through, hike through there. Who knows if they do, if it's done this time of year, but I'm sure they'll put something up to figure that out.
How are they entering into it?
There'll be a gate added in the fence that's already there.
From the school side? into-
Yes, yeah, because that'll, and it'll be left there so that there's easy access for any time in the future. So that'll be part of what we're gonna do with this.
Mhm.
So I don't know, Vin, if you have any input on this?
No, I think you explained everything very well.
Okay, anything else for anybody has? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're done. So
Thank
then,
you.
thanks, Darren. Thanks for being on, and you'll just do whatever updates that James needs so that it can be submitted next week, correct?
Yes, we'll work with James from here.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Yep, good night.
Thanks, Darren.
I don't know the only other things I have for schools is invoices. So Vinny, if you have anything else, jump in here and let us know.
No, all I have is invoices right now. I
Okay.
mean, we've already talked about closeout. We're moving forward with that. Waiting on that last Rizzo invoice to get approved so we can get that into the system and work on all the finalizing all the paperwork.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's
Covered it all.
where we are.
Yes.
So I have 2 invoices which were sent out to everyone. So we'll do those.
You like me to share them?
The only way I can share them is like this. I'm not hooked in, so I can't. If you want to put them up, you can.
Can you blow that up a little bit bigger for me? Okay, I'm going to share.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
You have to make Vinny's co-host so he can share.
Yes.
I think you have to do that.
Oh, do I? How do I do that? Let me
Sharing
see.
is caring. Down on the bottom of the green ones, share screen.
Yeah, but that's me sharing screen. I have to make Vinny co-host, so.
Go next to his name at the 3 little buttons or whatever, when it
Yeah.
makes little buttons, and then click on that, right click. And I think it says make co-host.
There we go.
All right. Nope,
There we
not
go.
yet.
Now you're co-host.
There we go. All right. Which one do I want to pick? Let's try this one. All right. Is that the right screen? Everybody see me climbing the rocks?
I see you climbing the rocks, yep.
Okay, great.
Why?
All right, so the first one we have in here is Perkins Eastman.
Okay. Yep. So I will make a motion that we approve the Perkins Eastman invoice number 68961.06.0-21 for Rockwell School. And the amount is $836.25. Is that what yours says, Vin? Because I can't see that.
Correct.
Oh, okay. And this is for Rockwell, and I think it's for back in October when we had to have SLR come down, we did the walk around to approve all the landscaping upgrades done by Sunburst, yes? Joe Colada, nod your head, yeah, okay.
I'll second that.
John Menti seconds, any questions, concerns, whatever? All in favor, aye,
Aye.
done. Yes, that's right. Okay, so that one's okay. I have to keep track of what I do. The next one should be STV.
Steven, here.
Yep, so I'll make a motion that we approve STV invoice number 90026-442 for, again, Rockwell School, and it's $546.
Second,
David Olson seconds. Thank you, Dave. Any questions on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're done. So for both STV and Perkins Eastman, there was nothing for Johnson during this time period?
I did not see anything. No.
I didn't see anything either. I just was wondering.
No, our Johnson invoice, I just approved it with accounting today, so
Okay.
it will be coming for the next meeting.
Okay,
And it'll cover time from November 1st on.
okay.
So, and I believe that might have been our last invoice for Rockwell.
Yeah, probably. Well, is there other closeout stuff that you have to do?
There probably is some that we'll have to do, but that I don't think we'll be invoicing anything for that.
Okay. Great. And I know sometimes I get the invoices for STV before Vinny and Mark know that they even exist. So when because they come in the mail and I get them, and you might not get them electronically, so I'll let you know that when I receive them. So I think that's it for the schools. unless anyone else has any questions or concerns or other stuff.
I'm good.
I'm good. Everybody's good.
All good in the hood. Long as Bob's good.
Joe, you're good. Vinny's good.
All set.
All right, great. Thank you. We'll see you. Like I said, we definitely will have a meeting in 2 weeks because we're going to have that Rizzo application for payment to deal with. And hopefully by then we'll know more about the, if what's going forward as far as the stormwater management area upgrade. Good, thank you. So,
Okay, good night, everyone.
good night, Joe.
All right.
Thank you. You could probably go. You can
Yeah.
stick around and watch if you want. Just kind of,
Yeah, for a few minutes.
you can stay as long as you'd like. So next on the agenda, we actually have the police station training range. So we had so Vinny updated us at our last meeting that he did have a meeting between all the team, Chikunsky, Humes, Downs, Action Target, Vinny, and anyone else from STV that's working as part of this, and they kind of laid out a little bit of a schedule, so to speak, of getting plans done, et cetera. They were supposed to have the plans to us before Christmas, and then they said after Christmas. So then we weren't seeing them. Now we have them. So we actually had a meeting, was it yesterday, Vin? Yesterday?
But, yeah.
That we took a look at the plans. John Perna was on, and Lieutenant Libertini and Chief Pugner were both on too. Basically looking at they were the range plans and looking to see and making sure that the police department got all the stuff that they had asked for when they were in the initial talking about planning stages. And they're good to go with that. The next step, and Vinny, you can fill this in a little bit too, but Action Target was looking for someone from the town to sign off and approve, but they didn't send the plans to us to look at them and sign off and approve. So now we have them. So Vinny, you want to jump in and?
Yes, so we have a set of plans. We find them right here. Actually, I think I have them open already. Yeah. Is my screen still shared?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So we have a set of plans that Action Target provided us. These are just the range drawings themselves. It's really a submittal as opposed to a plan. That's what they're going to provide for the police department. From what I understand, speaking with Action Target, all the equipment here has been ordered, and or it's ready for delivery. But we want to time this correctly with opening up the wall. We don't want to open up the wall too early because it's winter and so forth. We want to watch, rain getting in, any excessive heat, humidity, and so forth. Plus, our contractor will be in there doing some infrastructure work. We want to make sure that what they bring in doesn't get damaged, because contractor could drop a hammer, could drop something onto a piece of equipment and end up damaging it. And then if that happens, that'll set us back. So we want to make sure that we time this correctly. They have asked for the town to sign off on the documents, the little signature block up here, basically a signature saying the town approves of these documents. We went over in high level detail with the police department yesterday. It's a 5-lane range, which is what the town is looking to have. We went over all of the details of the baffles, the AR steel, and such, and that all meets the requirements, what the town is looking for. We went over the actual range equipment, the Genesis equipment that is going to be your retriever for the target. That's exactly what the town again is looking for. And so the drawings right now are ready to go to the architect to incorporate what they need to do to support this project or to support this equipment, i.e. electrical and basically data. We're also asking them to confirm that the structure can support the baffles that you see being hung where they are right here. These baffles that are being hung from the deck above. So, so we're going to ask if they're going to be verifying that information. Other than that, they're ready to go to the architect, and they need to be just signed off by the town to go back to Action Target saying, yes, this complies with what we're looking for, and we agree with the documents.
So, and also that little box that Vinny showed us with, for a signature, they would accept an electronic signature. So this, again, as Vinny said, just the actual range equipment and the HVAC plans are separate. And so we want to deal with this so we can get it to the architect for their review, and then they'll make sure, like Vinny said, that they're hanging those baffles from the ceiling, that the anchors are correct, et cetera. And then they'll finish up their electrical, mechanical.
What's going on with the HVAC and the air exchange? Is that stuff been ordered or is it?
No, it's not been ordered yet.
We're looking some, now something doesn't strike me as correct here.
So that's separate.
Yeah. That's a separate submittal from this one. We
Right.
just received that submittal on Friday.
So if we're gonna discuss that, let's deal with this first, and then we'll go into that one. Okay, that's okay?
Sure.
Do you think that
You don't need it.
affects that, or?
Let's see what that says. Let's see what that says first.
Well, that's
That's-
basically the range equipment and how it's going to be installed.
Yeah, I was looking more
There
at
is a-
flows and see if it's.
Right, so that's, it's like totally separate.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
are we good to go with this? Are we? I mean, we wouldn't know because we didn't ask for the equipment. We're going on, like I said, Chief Pugner was on, Lieutenant Libertini, and Lieutenant Durkin is on today too. So if there's anything that they've seen in here since yesterday, hopefully they'll let us know. And we'll say, no, they've got to go back and change it. But I kind of think we're good to go with this. We approve it.
Did they get reviewed by the architect?
They would then go to the architect. The architect will not sign off on them because we own them. We own all of it.
Right.
But the architect will then look at it all to make sure they have, like, the structure part, et cetera. And if it needs.
Correct. Yes,
Go ahead.
that, the architect won't sign off on this particular drawings or go in and verify the equipment that is within these drawings. What they'll do is they will, like Nancy was saying, they'll sign off that, or not sign off, they'll verify that that the structure can support these baffles. They'll verify that. They will go back and make sure that all the electrical and all of the data that's necessary for this equipment to run is in place. But they're not going to physically go in and sign off on the actual Action Target equipment, any of their AR steel, any of their baffles, the berm. That's not something that the architect will sign off on or be reviewing.
So are we ready to?
I mean, as long as the police department
Yep.
is fine with this,
Because I also had an email from Lieutenant Libertini after we had the meeting, just basically saying, yes, this is everything we were expecting. We're good to go.
I don't have a
And
problem.
they're on the meeting, so if they want to say something, they will, but they haven't, so unless Libertini doesn't have a microphone, and I know he didn't before. There's everybody.
No, I'm good. Just,
Let's keep it going. So I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the submittal from Action Target as presented.
I will second that.
John's gonna second it. Is there any more discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. And Vinny, you and I will have to figure out how I sign that thing.
Yes.
So now the submittal, again, let's keep calling it a submittal because anything that isn't right, if it's not something we asked for or something that we think is gonna work, then they're gonna have to go back and change it. So now the HVAC submittals were sent out yesterday.
Correct.
And I think John, I don't know if they went to everybody or, I think you sent them to everybody, and John and David Horvath have been checking them out. So is there something that seems, David's kind of looking at it on his computer, John's got paper copies.
Yeah, I just gotta go through this because I'm just trying to figure out the CFMs don't jive with some of the numbers I'm seeing. I gotta try to
Okay.
figure out what they're thinking.
All right, so I know at one point, Vinny, you talked about doing a page turn if necessary.
Yes, we can do a page turn, if necessary, to go through these documents with whoever whom you, want to have, similar to what we did on the, range equipment.
So you guys wanna?
So the
Hey,
one,
Vinny, I don't have these copies of this, the HVAC.
Oh, you need them, Lieutenant?
Could you email them to me?
Absolutely, I can.
Yeah, thanks.
Actually, wait a minute, did you get them? I thought you were on the email from Monday.
I only have the actual, the range itself drawings. I don't have the HVAC.
Okay, because they went to the chief and they went to Lieutenant Durkins. I must have missed you, but I will forward these over to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I would say if you're gonna do a page turn, that you guys figure out a time, the two of you, anybody else who wants to, as long as it's not 4.
Mhm.
And get together with Vinny and anyone else, if Lieutenant Libertini wants to be on too, just see if you can come up with a time. You can do it probably with a Teams meeting or a Google Meets thing or Zoom or something like that, right?
Yes, I can definitely set up a Teams meeting. And as long as everybody has a monitor and so forth where they can actually view and see the drawings. Nice thing about if we do it Teams, I can get in here and I can zoom right in. You know, we can go over this thing piece by piece, line by line, and so forth.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be much of it's just a couple simple.
And as John Perna has expressed in the past and did again yesterday at the meeting that we had, having several different, if you're just going with one manufacturer, proprietary stuff, et cetera, it's gonna put us in a difficult position with ordering and obtaining.
so it was pretty hard for me to do it in email, but let me give you an overview of what I'm thinking for the equipment selection and manufacturer. So each manufacturer, at least Trane and York, this is a 25-ton unit. So Trane makes, I'll call it their standard model 25-ton unit, and then they make usually their IntelliPack 25-ton unit. And the same thing for York. York and Trane, they're heavy competitors. I'm not so sure about Daikin and Carrier, and I'm not so sure about Aon. So it's gonna be important that when Action Target, and I say important, more important for the chief and Lieutenant Libertini, is to know what the lead times are. So potentially you could have 4 manufacturers, potentially, with 8 different units, with 8 different lead times. And I'm gonna stress something to you, and I can't stress it enough, how important this is for Action Target to lay it out this way. I just ordered a generator and it's 55 weeks. So equipment is right now, not to scare anybody, is horrendous I'm getting, horrendous.
Big generator for
So,
school.
so if the more options that we get from the manufacturer, the board as a team with the police department can make a decision and say, okay, we can get the standard unit and we can get that in 25 weeks, but we can get the premium unit that is 30 weeks. I'm making this up. Another thing to consider, and I don't know if everybody knows, that electric rates have doubled. And they're soon to triple, okay? So efficiency to me is important, but that's just me. So again, standard unit, like standard efficiency, standard quality of unit, and then, for example, Train, we'll call that IntelliPack, is a premium unit and it's premium efficiency.
John,
So,
I have a question.
Yeah.
I forgot, what does the police station have now for a system? Is it Aon or?
they have Aon. The problem with Aon, and I'm not gonna speak for them because they gotta reach out to them. They're a design build like unit. I'm afraid what their lead time will be.
Oh,
But I did email him, I did email Vinny, and I gave him 5 options. So it's Train, York, Dakin, Aon, and Carrier.
But will this unit, so this will be a totally 100% not tied into the rest of the building's intelligence system?
No, it has to be, yeah,
So
so
we'll
that's
up-
another thing I sent, so there's a card in there, it's called BACnet card. And it's literally $250, $300. That thing holds the brain of the whole unit. All you do is run like a Cat5 wire and plug it into the existing Honeywell system they have.
Okay,
And they could read everything on that unit. That's essential to me.
yes.
We've had problems with the shell of the pre-shell leaking, so, and not only that, the worst thing you could do to a building is to keep the ventilation system off.
Right.
So if there were 2 days of rain and for some reason the humidity got 75%, we could lay this out that there'll be a sensor in there and it won't go occupied. It'll go into what we call dehumidification mode and keep the building dry inside. And has nothing to do with comfort. It
Not
has
the
to do
equipment.
with the $500,000 worth of equipment
Yeah.
That's
that we're
important.
putting in there.
Yeah.
And the paper that they're gonna store, the targets, I'm sure, I would guess they're paper, but everything, the
Yeah.
drywall, the ceiling tiles not bowing,
Yep.
because it's damp inside.
Mhm.
I cannot stress enough that we have to have Action Target 100%, 10% on board. And the other thing is, I don't know how you feel about the emails that I sent. I'd like to see those emails get copy pasted into these prints. Because I don't want there to be any deviation or confusion for everybody, including the public, on when we select the unit and why did we select it.
Mhm.
So why did we take the $300 option? Why did we take the $2,500 option?
Mhm.
That's obviously the decision we're gonna make as a team,
Right.
but I want it incorporated in on these drawings.
And it needs to be written, the operation parameters of humidity and temperature,
Right.
year round, what needs to be.
Right.
So that Action Target or anyone can't come back and say, well, we told you 70 to 40% humidity, went to 75% for 2 weeks.
Our
Right.
stuff is,
That's, you know,
I always say the simple thing, it's not what could happen,
it's what's gonna.
it's what did happen.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what did happen is we had a leaky shell,
yeah, yep.
so, I hope it never happens again, but but to keep longevity and a layer of insurance,
Right,
um,
Well, didn't we ask also
an
for static pressure?
example, here we are in January, and we've probably had 9 days of rain
yeah, yeah,
in January.
Yeah.
When it should have been snow.
Mhm.
Humidity has become a very serious thing with buildings, schools.
Didn't we talk about static pressure sensors as well, differential between indoor and outdoor back in the beginning?
We did, well, on that list that he has is our flow rings.
Okay.
On the equipment, I don't.
I know I remember
don't think I
bringing up-
put that,
I remember bringing up static pressure that we should.
but I am sure
Positive.
there's a sequence that what they do is they action target, how they achieve it, I don't know, that they keep that building in a real strong positive.
Yes, exactly.
Because they said that the door that they have to put from the control room to the range is gotta be airtight.
Yes.
So I don't know how they function, how they do that. But
Yeah,
that's
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
very hard for me to explain all that in
Right.
an email to
Yeah.
them. But the copy paste into the print, I don't know, how maybe,
Well, they do have.
they should be on the schedule.
They do have design conditions in there, I'm seeing it now. So winter indoor, dry bulb, Fahrenheit 70, RH 50. Winter outdoor, dry bulb is 8.7, wet bulb is 0. Summer indoor 70, RH 50. So they're calling it out. So basically your high is, your RH, your high is wet bulb is 72.6 and a high of 87.7 Fahrenheit.
Kind of high.
For summer.
So the other thing that I think for purpose of speed, to get this moving along, to get these approved so we get the unit ordered, is that we set up a Zoom call with Action Target and cut the delay out. Have them on and answer our questions and give them, and he's doing an excellent job, but I think to speed up the process, because we all have full-time jobs. I'm not complaining, but
right,
there's only so much I could do during the day.
right.
So a meeting with Zoom, with Action Target on it could cut off 5 days.
But could it be done, so it could be Vin, you two, anybody else that feels like they need, you're speaking Greek to me, so I don't know if I would.
Well,
But also because Action Target is in Utah, you could have a meeting at 5 o'clock and it's, 3 o'clock out there, so.
Right. Yeah, what I would recommend is that, I agree 100% with John to try to speed up our approval and so forth, is to bring in Action Target. But they have to bring in their mechanical engineer. It's an outside entity. These drawings were not designed by Action Target, the submittal. They went outside to them, so they would have to bring in that engineer into the meeting. I also recommend that we probably bring in our architect and our mechanical engineer, because they need to make sure that they timed everything correctly here. I think it may have to be a combined effort between several different people here, which we definitely can. I can definitely set that up and make that work.
yeah,
Not say on here who the outside engineer is for this. Just in the cover sheet. Yeah, these are presented as if they came from Action Target, but that is not the case.
right.
But I can definitely get that meeting set up, but I do recommend that we have our architect and our mechanical engineer that we have a contract with on board too for that meeting.
I totally agree. So again, I'm gonna say, I think we should do it as a group, honestly.
Yes, yep.
I don't think it would take more than 1 or 2 meetings. I know there's a time difference, so let's try to compromise with Action Target and his engineer.
Yes,
And let's speed it up. Let's, as they say, let's do it as if we were a business and not a municipality. Municipality, we got all the time in the world. But in the public sector, if you don't speed it up, Roy, you don't make money.
Yeah, I'm not sure where where their engineer is. I know where David is located, and he's 2 hours behind us. So typically anytime around, he says he starts his day around 8:30, 9 o'clock, his time, so it'll be anytime 11 o'clock or after for us. So John, if you wanna kind of throw out some dates and times to me, I can work from there. Anybody else on the meeting that wants to be involved, please, you have my email, please send me the information that you want to be involved in, and we'll make sure everybody is included in the meeting.
2 hours behind, so realistically, us as a group, we could have a 4 o'clock meeting and it's only 2 o'clock there.
Absolutely,
Everybody at this meeting is agreeable to that, but
yeah.
I don't know if, honestly, for what we're working with right here, I don't think a subcommittee is the right thing to do. I
Okay,
think it's a team.
okay.
That's what I think, yeah, and just speed it up. If I know ahead of time, you know, I could put it in to get out early. I could be here by 4 o'clock if that's the time that we select. But I can't stress enough about the equipment selection. And the other thing that I wanna offer is, I don't wanna jump in anybody's sandbox, but I'll say this. I'm ordering 30, 40 units at a time where I work because of all this ESSER money that came available. So I have a lot of input with the manufacturers. They're knocking at my door, because I'm the purchaser. They're knocking at my door all the time, so I could help speed things up when we're looking to get our information from Train. Are we looking to get our information from Carrier? I'm willing to help with that, Vinny. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I think I could definitely be of some help with you. And I would certainly take down the emails on the people that I deal with, that you would be in the loop, and anybody else that wanted to be on that loop. That's another method of really, you know, pushing this along and getting the unit order.
Right.
Nowadays, I'm not ruling them out. I don't know them as well. I will say I have an intimate relationship with Daikin, Train, York, and Carrier. Very intimate relationship. Not so much Aon.
I have the Aon.
Oh, good. So there, we got a full house. Yeah.
So,
I
John,
think it's,
go ahead, Finn.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, I think it's very important because in the end, John's gonna be the one that's gonna be taking care of this equipment. And the police department has to live with this equipment and make sure that this equipment functions so they can continue their training that they need to do. So, I agree 100% that, the town, and if we can get people from the town involved and say, hey, listen, we want this, this, and this, we want this unit to operate a certain way. I think Action Target needs to conform to that because they're only gonna own the unit for the first year. After the first year, the town owns it. It's theirs. And this unit's gonna be there for the next 25, hopefully at least 25 years or longer. So I think it's important to get the town's input. From the police department all the way up to John and his team. So I'll definitely set this up and then we can I'll try to get it set up for John. I mean, if anybody wants to be involved in the meeting, please email me.
Well,
Say, yes, I want to be involved.
If John is saying that we're gonna do it as a whole commission, then it's gotta get posted, it's gotta get in a timely fashion, so all of
So
that.
here's a suggestion. He Vinnie approaches Action Target and give us 2 dates. No, give us 3 dates, it can't hurt. Give us 3 dates that everyone, that they could offer to meet with us via Zoom at 4 o'clock. Is that reasonable?
Okay, all right.
4 o'clock kind of works good for me. I work in Stanford, so I have an hour drive.
Okay.
You know, if I had Chief Pugner with me, I could probably do it in a half hour. But it normally takes me an hour.
Okay.
I don't have any lights on my car.
In the back of the car with the handcuffs on.
No, I think I think if you offer us
All right.
And you're
with that
gonna,
4 o'clock time, Eastern time,
and you're gonna also see if, or not see if, but include Jagonski Humes and, who are they using, Coloronin?
Yeah.
I cannot remember whom they're using, but
yeah, Nicole Roman.
we would definitely include them. You know, and the other thing that might, you know, I'm just looking at John's email here, and I know we don't have a contract with ESC, but I think they could play an important part because they understand the police department and their automation system. I don't know if there's some way that we can get them for this hour and a half of time that we need.
So include them to talk about.
I think including them, because, you know, the
Yes.
unit's gonna get put up on the roof. In the end, the unit's gonna run based on how it's being controlled. And if we're gonna bring in ECS, and they're gonna be our wait a minute, is ECS the commissioning, or are they the
ESC is the
ESC
automation.
Yeah, they do automation, CS,
ESC? Yes.
Commission.
yeah,
I'm getting them mixed up. If ESC is our automation, correct?
yes.
Yes,
If we bring them in, you know, they would have an important piece of this. Ultimately, they're going to control it. I don't know how we can get them there if they're not on the contract.
Well,
I could do it.
Okay.
and that's
You know,
another,
I mean, John, you agree with that, right? The unit's going to get put up there, but
I do, and
it'll
I
be
don't.
controlled by the automated system.
When we met out there, and this was a while ago, they left me with the impression that well, first of all, they were only Daikin. They wouldn't do anybody but Daikin. And
They're off that. So they're going with multiple manufacturers.
Yeah. That would stand alone. But it can't hurt to have ESC there. We have, I don't want to bring up my work, but we have 22 schools. ESC takes care of 14 of them.
Here you go. There's your leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we can reach out and ask them if they should, you know, if we can borrow 2 hours of their time, I think that would be extremely beneficial for this project.
They would do it.
And I know we talked about commissioning. Again, they're going to be an important piece of this as this unit starts to come online. I don't know if we want to bring them into the meeting.
I don't think we need them on the call.
Okay.
We just need a proposal. The CES did the original commissioning for the main building of the PD.
Okay.
I would ask Lieutenant Libertini and Lieutenant Durkin. That was one of the big complaints when they visited a lot of police stations that were built, was the comfort inside. Were they happy with the way the new PD comfort-wise?
it keeps breaking down.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so I think we stick with, I don't see any reason to change on who did the original project.
But some of the stuff may have to go out to bid, so we'll have to check into that.
Hey, Vincent, I would just say this. It is my understanding in conversations that I've had with Action Target, and I agree with Mr. Perna about there needs to be some type of climate control in the range. There's no question about that. There's equipment in there that there needs to be climate control. And it really isn't about our comfort. That really has nothing to do with it. It is the equipment that's in there, and the building does need to be climate controlled. However, this system is, it was my understanding and my conversations with Action Target, it is not designed like the HVAC system is in this building, where you have a thermostat on the wall and you have a temperature, and that's where it sits, and it provides heat and air conditioning and cooling. This is a system that's supposed to filter particulate, and specifically lead particulate, out of the air. It was not
Right.
designed to be run 24/7, 365 days a year. So I would just confirm with Action Target that that's in fact, one, what you guys want to do, and two, that the system can do it. The
Right.
only, I don't see why it couldn't, but I can tell you now that I remember them saying specifically that's not how the system is designed to operate. Not to mention that the filters that are used are much more expensive than the filters you're going to use to filter the air that's in this building.
Okay, are you saying Action Target said is not designed to operate as a climate control unit?
That's what, when I had
Okay.
initially talked about this, because I had said the same thing. My concern is, yeah, you need to have the humidity level controlled in there. And I had, I remember the conversation, initial conversation, I believe it was with Rex. He said, that's not really what the system is designed to do on a
Correct.
continuous 24/7, 365, days a year basis. So I would just make sure that that is confirmed with him.
Okay, all right. And I guess the next question is,
Yeah.
you do have to have climate control within your space. You have to monitor temperature, humidity.
Oh, I agree.
Absolutely. And I know in looking through this submittal, I believe this submittal that this unit here has the ability to monitor in that. The question is, how does a unit function at
Right.
that point?
My understanding of how it functioned is when the building was occupied, when you were in there actively shooting, the HVAC system would be turned on.
Okay,
And then when you left, you turn it off. It's not something that was designed to automate and be, set the thermostat to 70 degrees and off you go.
right.
That was my understanding. So I
Yeah.
would just make sure that you confirm that. That's all, because that's obviously gonna.
Yeah, looking through the one lines and the parts and pieces of this, looks like there are elements in this unit that can control that. And again, this all may go back to our control contractor. How can they control this unit to make it work? Yeah, you guys have an override, like you're saying, to turn this unit on when you're in there doing your training. You have a means of turning it off when you've completed your training. But then what is the automated piece that John's bringing up? Okay, humidity in there gets to a certain level. Is this unit going to kick on and change that for dehumidification and so forth? And that may be the control aspect of it.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I would want to confirm, because obviously it's a range HVAC system that's designed to push a certain amount of CFMs in order to get all that particulate and that lead stuff away from the shooter. You don't
Right,
need
exactly.
that CFM to control the temperature in there. So
Yeah, it
you got to make sure
pulls
that
the air down the range and out is what it
Correct.
does. It brings it in at the shooter and pulls it down the range.
and it recycles and it filters the air and conditions it and then sends it back in. But again, that CFM that it's moving, I mean, when that's on, it's on. I mean, it's not like being in a room right now with the HVAC on and you barely notice it. It's
Yeah.
on. So that's my only My only
Okay.
concern is that the system is designed to in fact do that. That's all.
Again, these are all questions that we can definitely address. And I think during this meeting, we can address it. I mean, looking at it here, we have cooling and we have reheat. So so the unit's designed to cool and it's designed to heat. And the question is, how does that get controlled? And how does it work for your space? But I think a control contractor is probably the biggest piece of everything that's here and how it gets tied into your system.
Well, and is there concern not just for humidity, but is there equipment in there that needs to be kept either at a certain level of warm or cool continually to make the system work properly, the equipment, et cetera?
That should be in the specs of this equipment for the design criteria for temperatures. Sorry, site design conditions, summer 87 to 72, winter is 12. That's just given this, the area that you're at. Design conditions, winter outdoors, summer out. So,
So if what you're looking at, what we're looking at is a makeup air unit, it's not gonna heat or cool the space, right?
no, it looks like based on the drawings, it has heating and cooling elements.
Heating and cooling is included when the
Okay.
system
Right
is
here.
running and filtering the air.
Okay,
My point is that you don't need all those linear feet per minute moving that air down range in order to heat and cool the
Right.
space effectively
Right.
when it's
No.
not occupied. So
Right.
that's what I mean. This system,
Right.
my knowledge, is not designed to provide 24-hour heating and cooling and HVAC. And that's the only thing that I would really stress that needs to be confirmed with Action Target.
Yeah,
which is kind of the basic overall, I mean, the building itself wasn't designed to be occupied 24/7 either. That space was meant to be used as a training range and occupied when it's occupied, and when it's not occupied, it's not. So it wasn't meant to be, air controlled, et cetera, insulated. Yeah,
I don't think we,
Yeah.
honestly, first of all, we're not looking to run it 24 hours a day. All we're looking to do is, in the unoccupied mode, that it has a way to dehumidify the inside of the shell. It's not, the unit's not what we call fully in ventilation mode. It's just in dehumidification mode. They have the components on the drawing, so I think our best bet is to get the meeting set up, ask them a list of questions. We have everybody here that's here tonight. We just clarify it and then wait for the pricing and availability to come in.
okay.
No, I agree 100%. I just want to make sure that that's, I understand what you want to do and I agree with it. And I think it should be able to do it. I just want to make sure that we have all the things in place that we can do what you're saying, because I
Right.
agree, it needs to be
Right.
done.
The drawing that we just picked up, they're calling out that the range has to maintain 50% humidity. So they have a plan for this. We have to clarify it. That's all.
Yeah, we said
With our question.
what the control sequence is.
So they're even saying in their own drawings, Action Target, on, I don't know what page it is. What happens when you spin these things and you look at them all day? They're calling out 50%.
Yes.
so to answer your question, Lieutenant Libertini, about probably the function of the system and how it's gonna function when you're in the range and when you're actually firing, when you're outside. This particular unit right here, the variable frequency drive, this controls the speed of the fan and such. So again, and it goes back to controls. I believe this is all going back to controls. When you're in there shooting, this unit's gonna, this VFD will speed that fan up and give you everything that you need to be able to safely shoot within the range. And I think is probably have to go back into, so when you're done, this should, the fan should slow down. And then at that point, do what it needs to do to monitor for temperature and humidity. If I didn't see this on the drawings, I would be concerned with how they're gonna control the fan, but this is what's gonna control your fan speed. But again, I think it all goes back to controls. And that's why I think having a control vendor there would be fantastic for us.
Let's get the meeting set up.
Will do.
So we'll get 3 dates at 4 o'clock. And we'll assemble and we'd like all 3 team members of the PD with us to attend. I even got a better idea. Let's have the meeting in the community room at the PD. Can we do that?
That would have to be a special meeting. Well, it's gonna be a special meeting anyways. Kathy, what do we need for a special meeting? How much time do we need to put it out there?
I'm not sure about the special. I mean, I don't think there is a time limit. I think you can do whatever you need to do.
No, I think you have to put the agenda out within
58 hours,
24 hours or 48?
48.
48 hours, okay. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks. So we have to be able to put an agenda out within 48 hours of having the meeting. So everybody knows that while we're putting this together, okay?
Nancy, do you have any objections to me sending these drawings over to ESC?
No.
Okay.
I just want to understand that we might not just be able to hand them a contract. That, and it's not unusual for anybody to ask another contractor for input in getting ready with a job, but if we're gonna be putting a bunch of stuff, bid packages together to put them out to bid, they gotta know that that's gonna happen too. You know what I
With
mean?
them being the original PD control vendor, would you have justification in that sense?
Good.
Okay. You can use priority or something. I'm not sure.
Let's stick with that right now.
Yes.
Keep moving forward.
Yep.
All right. So I'll send these over to ESC. I'll tell them that will you be reaching out, or John, will you be reaching out to them?
I'll reach out to them.
Okay. But I'll get these over to them now, so that way they can at least have something to start taking a look at for a meeting next week, and I'll let them know that we're looking to bring them in.
Okay. All right. You'll keep us posted on that, Vinny, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll
And
get that set up for next week.
then you're gonna send the submittal of the range equipment to Chikunsky Humes.
Yep. Now that we're good with it, I'll forward that over to them so they can start their finalization of drawings.
Yep.
And review.
They'll keep updating. So then, do we need to well, we wouldn't send these to Downs yet because we gotta wait for Chikunsky Humes to get their part finished before it goes to Downs.
Yeah, well, we want them to incorporate this into their final set. These should go out as part of the package that they give Downs.
Yep.
Both the range submittal and the HVAC submittal. And it should be noted that well, it's noted on by who's doing what, but I think Downs knows they're not purchasing this makeup
Right.
air unit. But
Right.
I'll make sure that that they're aware.
Okay. So is there anything else on the range that we need to deal with tonight? I've got the one invoice.
The one invoice. Yep.
Yeah, I think everything else, unless anyone else has anything, or if Lieutenant Durkin or Lieutenant Libertini has anything else, let us know, or otherwise we'll do the invoice. Okay. So it's a STV invoice for the training range. I'll make a motion that we approve the invoice from STV, invoice number 900264445 for the police station training range in the amount of $1,411.50.
Second,
Second from Dave Olson. Any other questions, comments, etc. on the invoice? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done with it. Thank you, thank you. All right,
Thank you.
Vin, I'll be in touch with you tomorrow, Vin,
Yes.
about signature, and then you'll keep us in touch about, just before we finish this part, are there days of the week that we can just throw to Vinny and say, I can't do Tuesdays or something like that, when we open? Good, all right, so you keep us posted on that and we'll get that figured out.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Lieutenant Libertini. Thank you, Lieutenant Durkin. Everybody else is gonna stick around because we have one other thing, and hopefully the Mark that's on here is Mark Schweitzer from Colliers.
It is, Nancy.
Good, great. We're gonna do the GP room lobby renovations, and Mark, those of us who are here in person, well, at least 4 of us, along with facilities manager of the schools, went in just before the meeting and checked out everything going on. So we got to have a look-see at where we're at. And I had gotten an update from, just a quick email update. Jay had said that he was looking at doing possibly next week, and I don't know if you heard the same thing from him, that possibly by the end of next week, having rough inspection.
Yeah, that's what I heard also. In wall, and they should be, by the end of next week, they should be, well, definitely they're going to be in wall. They'll be ready for next week, and they should be they'll probably be pretty close for the above ceiling, at least in the lobby. They'll be pretty close.
Yeah, because he had said the HVAC roof was done. They were finishing up the plumbing roof. They probably, I think, yesterday. The electrical roof, they were working on that when I was in there yesterday, and it looks like they were working on it today.
They were.
Hopefully is supposed to be done by the end of the day tomorrow, and then hopefully a rough inspection next week.
Yep. Agreed. That's what I saw this morning.
Okay. So Mark sent out it's going to be a project folder kind of, so it'll have the reports. He put photos in it. Mark, we may also want to upload like the contracts and all that kind of stuff. If people have to go and review it, they can do that easily by just going into the folder.
I can do that. That's not a problem.
Okay, so now, go ahead.
I sent it out, well, I've been sending it to you, Nancy, but I've sent it out late this afternoon to the whole committee. I just wanted to make sure that everybody got it and check the emails, because I went off the website of who I sent it to. So just make sure that I've included everybody and that everybody can get into the folder.
So I got into the folder. The question I would ask is, where does it hang out regularly? Like, do you just have to go back to this email every time, or can you?
It would be that link in the email.
And then you can save it somewhere.
You can download from that OneDrive.
I'm just looking at the emails.
John, can you get it on your?
I'm gonna try right now.
I can't get it on my iPad. I can get it on my big computer.
Yeah, so everybody, you've got all the right email addresses. Roy is saying that
I can get it on my big computer, but I can't get it on my
you can't get it on your
my
iPad. So would it be, is there an app or something that
Yeah, that's
if
what I
it's
think
not
you have to do, is I
on
think I
the
have to
device
open
that you
it. I
have,
think
that
I
it
can
won't
get it.
open, or?
I would have to I would have to check with our IT people to see if why we couldn't open it up on an iPad.
So
It doesn't
it's
play well with
a,
those.
it's a OneDrive, right?
It just doesn't.
Yes.
And I had it open earlier and I just tried to open it now and it won't open. So and it's the same computer. That's weird. I'll have to check into it.
I don't get it. I can open it up, I think.
Yeah, but you want to be able to,
Lobby
like I said,
renovation project.
so John got it on his
You have to
phone.
put it on an app, John.
We got this on an app for this. So yes, you could put it on an app.
So for some reason, and we can talk about this or figure it out later, Mark, I had it open earlier because I looked at the photos and I checked out the most recent report. So instead of Mark sending out the photos as attachments or the reports as attachments, because the more photos he puts in them, the bigger they become, and you can't send it as an attachment in an email. So if he puts it in the folder, then you access the folder and you open it up and you look at it. I had it open earlier, Mark, when I was at home, and I just clicked on it now, same laptop, different internet. Hope that makes a difference. And it's telling me the site can't be reached. So I'm gonna try it again when I get home and I'll let you know.
Okay, please.
Yeah,
It could be something from town.
what's that?
It could be something with block.
So I'm at the municipal center on the Wi-Fi here, and it could be something here blocking it, but we'll see. So is there anything else you wanna let us know about, Mark?
There was an email earlier this week regarding the 2 toilets in the women's room.
Right.
There was originally designed, the sanitary line was supposed to go through the floor and then connect to the family toilet down in the basement. When they laid it out, the sanitary lines for the 2 toilets were over a girder, one of the concrete girders. BMP found a toilet that is basically a horizontal sanitary line so that he could tie into the family toilet sanitary lines and then drop down from there. So if you noticed in the women's toilet room, there were 2 holes in the wall on the wet wall, and those were for the toilets. So they went through the wall into the family toilet, and the sanitary lines will drop down on the family toilet versus dropping down on the women's toilet.
Right, yeah, Mike was showing me that yesterday, and I pointed it out to the folks who were here.
Perfect.
And that worked out nicely that, we're so far and hopefully continuing to avoid those concrete girders because we don't want to go through those. That would be a mess.
Well, put it this way, the plumber's all done, at least laying out and
Yep.
putting his holes in there. The HVAC is already run through there. And the electrician, I mean, they're small conduits, he should be able to move them and avoid them.
Yep. So, just a question about the doors, the big doors, the storefront, the
Yep.
entry door into the lobby, and then the one that's going to go from the lobby into the GP room. Are those on order so we don't have to wait too long to get them?
I will confirm with BMP, but I believe they are, yes.
Okay. All right, great. Anybody have any questions for Mark? Otherwise, we can do invoices. Do you need them up on the screen, or can I just read them? Okay, you don't have to screen share them, because then we'd have to make you co-host too. So there's 2, one for Colliers and owner's rep, and then the first application for payment from BMP, which I sent around to everyone. So I will make a motion that we approve the application for payment number 1 from BMP Construction Inc. for the GP room lobby renovations in the amount of $121,439.40.
I'll second.
Roy seconds it. And that's, there's the sheet that shows all the different things that have been done. That's what we talked about recently of what's done. And if anybody has any questions on it, jump in. Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dave says aye too. Anybody opposed? That one's good. And then the other invoice. Colliers, make a motion that we approve Colliers invoice number 0000810853 in the amount of $465.
I'll second.
John seconds. Anybody have any questions, comments, etc.? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. Okay, so Mark, as we said, we'll all try the link and see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll let you know. We'll figure that out as to why it's not working.
Yep, if you can email me directly, I can check with our IT people to make sure that, see what the issue is.
Right, so Roy just got it on his iPad. He wasn't getting it, now he did. So maybe that's a good thing. And mine, again, isn't coming up, so I have no idea why. But John has a question.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Mark, do we, how are we looking for a time frame? Does he have any updates on that? Are we ahead, behind, or right on schedule, or?
When they initially started, they were saying 4 months, and we're basically 50% through the time, and we're probably right there.
Okay.
We're probably, they're into, after the inspections next week, they'll be in finishes. So
we're pretty much on target then.
we are on target, yes.
Great, good to hear.
Thank you.
All right, anything else for Mark? We're good. So I think that's it for tonight. Again, we will have a meeting in 2 weeks, which is January. Let me check on that date. I know, why is it so close? It's the 25th, I think, January 25th, yes. So look for an agenda. Again, we'll be pushing things along with all 3 projects and making sure that we hit deadlines, et cetera. And then look for emails from Vinny about setting up something for the HVAC part of the training range.
I make a motion, we adjourn. Look at Kathy smiling.
Dave seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. Good night, Kathy.
Bye, Kath. Feel better, everybody.
Feel better, Kathy.
Not feeling well.
All right, I'm ending the meeting.